Good morning and welcome back to the Homeschool Library. Well, another year is complete. Today is December the 31st, rounding out the end of 2025. And now that another year is complete, I thought I'd go back and revisit that old idea that I had about some of the series that I have completed. I think in my last video, I called it the Misadventures of a Completist, where I showcased, now that I have completed the series of Matt Helm by Donald Hamilton. I've got this condition that I like to call completism. Some of you may have it as well, where you've got maybe a book series that you're collecting, but there's holes in it. And if you're anything like me, it's difficult to see that shelf and not having the whole thing there. So we got to plug those holes. Well, today, for the end of 2025, a very special episode today in the Misadventures of a Completist. I've completed another series. Actually, I got the last book that I needed just a couple of weeks ago, but it seemed like today would be a good day to showcase that. And today's offering is the CASCA series by Barry Sadler. Some of you may have read this. I know I've seen a lot of videos out there of usually, I'll say guys, usually guys. It's very much a men's fiction series. Although there are some ladies out there who enjoy it as well, justifiably so. They're great reads. They really are. Barry Sadler, as you may or may not be aware of the former Green Beret. The singer, you may have heard the Ballad of the Green Beret, a great album. He was a Vietnam soldier, served, I think, well through, maybe even in Korea. I don't remember now how far back his career goes. Did some mercenary work also in his later years. Very interesting guy. And quite a writer as well. Even wrote some nonfiction, but he's most well known for, in addition to the song Ballad of the Green Beret, his CASCA series. Honestly, one of my favorite book series of all time. And I'm going to say it right now, some great historical fiction. If you want to look at it like that, which I very much do. If I would ever make a video on my favorite historical fiction series, CASCA would be in it. So who is CASCA? What's the background of the series? Well, CASCA Rufio Longinus is his complete name. He was the centurion in charge of Jesus' crucifixion. Actually, the one who stabbed Christ with the spear there at the end. And in that moment, Jesus looks down at him and says, I can't remember the exact quote, how Sadler wrote it in the book, but basically Jesus tells him, "You are content to be as you are, so you shall be until we meet again." Jesus' blood drips down from his side through the spear onto CASCA's flesh, and he is immediately changed. He is given some degree of immortality in that moment, and he is either cursed or blessed, perhaps, depending on how you want to look at it. And CASCA himself looks at it in various ways throughout the series to continue to live his life as a soldier, a warrior, a man of action until the second advent of Christ, until Jesus returns. And the first book here, it deals largely with that, where CASCA first discovers his immortality. The setup for the series, it actually begins on the battlefields of Vietnam, where this soldier, Casey Romaine, CASCA, the Roman soldier, Casey Romaine, yeah, very clever, Barry. He's wounded. He's actually brought in essentially dead on a gurney into this field hospital, where he is treated by a doctor. all of a sudden I cannot remember the doctor's name. You know what? It doesn't matter. Julius Goldman. Dr. Goldman, who also happens to be Julius Goldman. He's a Jew. So there you've got that connection as well. A former Roman soldier, the man who killed Jesus, now talking to a Jewish physician about it's kind of a neat setup. And a lot of the books deal with that relationship until Dr. Goldman eventually retires, and his protege then kind of fills that role. And the backdrop for the book is actually Casey telling his story to Dr. Goldman. So there's kind of a jump back and forth in time there, as there is in several of the books. So anyway, that's book one. It's a great introduction to the series. If you read no others, absolutely read that one. And then I love the cover art for these as well. I really do. I think, I don't know, is that Steve Holland? Maybe some of you know, the guy who he also did, was the model for Doc Savage, did a lot of Westerns. I want to think that it is, but I don't know that for a fact. Book 2 here is CASCA, the God of Death. This is actually one of my favorites. In this one, CASCA, he winds up traveling with a group of kind of early proto-Vikings into what is today, I think, Mexico, where he becomes the inspiration for Quetzalcoatl and that image of the white god returning, which is a setup for one of the later books. Book 3 here is The Warlord, another one of my favorites. In this one, CASCA he goes to China in the time of the building of the Great Wall. The emperor was, I'm probably not going to pronounce it correctly, Emperor Xinshi Huangdi. At that point, I think he's the emperor at the time who was building the wall during this book. Great. Just awesome. Fun read. Book 4 is one that actually gets a lot of flack in the series, especially today. In fact, I saw a video on YouTube a while back. Someone, fairly prominent booktuber, who, while he loved the book, went out of his way to talk about how problematic it is and how problematic the whole series is. Very much, it seemed to be manufacturing controversy, if you know what I mean. Take these books as you will. If you don't like them, don't read them. If you love them, devour them. They're fiction stories of a historical fiction guy who's lived for over 2,000 years. Different things he's going to deal with. But where this one falls into controversy is CASCA, who's supposed to be our hero, right, is a Nazi tank commander. Now, he himself is not a Nazi. He's a German tank commander. I find it funny how this one has so much controversy in that regard, but in the first one, he's a Roman soldier, and why we're not supposed to worry about the brutalities of the Roman Empire, I don't get that disconnect. But it stands to reason that a man who was a soldier of Rome would gravitate towards the imperialism of 1930s, 1940s Germany, who actually borrowed a lot of the Roman Empire iconography, the eagle, standards, many other things. However, over the course of the book, CASCA, as they see, he's fighting on the Eastern Front in Russia, and as they see the degradations of both Russia and Germany, he and his tank crew, they start to realize we're on the wrong side here. Idealistically, politically, and the conflict of CASCA himself, going back even to book one in his days as a Roman, is, I think, makes this one of the better books in the whole series. It really does. Book 5 here, the saga continues. This one is the first book. It doesn't have the book number on here. This is CASCA the Barbarian. I haven't read this one yet. This is one of the last holes that I needed to plug in this series, and I had actually stopped reading at book 4. I have read a couple of the others later on in the series before I was actively trying to complete the whole thing, but I got to book 4 and I thought, I'm not going to read anymore until I just have all those holes plugged, and then I can go back to the beginning and finish it off. So book 5 here, I have not read. This one, the plains of Parthia were littered with the bodies of the dead and dying as CASCA moved away from the battle. Rome did not take desertion lightly, and while they couldn't kill the Eternal Mercenary, they could make life very uncomfortable. So this looks like it is back to, I think, the latter days of the Roman Empire. It's sort of the Western Roman Empire. I believe he's in northern Germany in this one. So looks good. The series does jump around back and forth throughout history, kind of going and filling in. I think as Sadler got ideas of stories that he wanted to tell, he'd jump around through the series. But he does do, at least to where I left off, he really does do a fantastic job of maintaining the continuity. Like there's a period where I think it's when he was in China, where he is locked in a cave prison, I think, or underground for 300 years. Well, there's no other books that take place during that 300-year time. So yeah, he does a great job in that regard of making sure none of those holes are keeping the continuity. I guess I'll say it that way. Book 6 here, we're back to getting the number on the cover. This is CASCA the Persian. I've also not read this one. Seems to take place in the Persian Empire during the reign of Shapur II. Looking forward to rereading the series and getting to that one. CASCA the Damned. I have read this one before. This one, it takes place during the time of, I think, is this Attila the Hun? Yes. Yes, this is Attila the Hun going back to China, where he's already been. So it ties that in together. Book 8 here. This one's still got a used bookstore sticker on it. This one is CASCA Soldier of Fortune, where he deals with the Khmer Rouge in fighting in Cambodia. Book 9 here, The Sentinel. This is another kind of Viking style adventure. This one takes place in North Africa. Book 10, CASCA the Conquistador. This one is the payoff, going all the way back to book 2, where CASCA had journeyed into Mexico, where he became the inspiration for Quetzalcoatl, the white god who would return. In this book, he comes back with Cortez and is, of course, recognized as the man who was there before. Book 11 here, this is the one that completed the series for me. This is the one I was missing for so long. This is CASCA the Legionnaire, during the Indochina Wars, where this one takes place. So yeah, I've not read that one either. A centerpiece of this one is the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. I'm sorry. My Asian pronunciation, not that great. CASCA the African Mercenary. I've not read this one. I'm not exactly sure when this takes place. It does to be very 20th century, but I don't really know much about the story on this one. Book 13 here, CASCA the Assassin. This one does take place in, I can't remember the years, early Middle Ages, the kind of the formation of the Assassins Guild. There the hashish involved in that. I can't tell you much about this one either. Hassan al-Sabah, that was his name. CASCA the Phoenix. All about CASCA and the Viet Cong. This one is another one that I have never read, although I'm looking forward to it. What are we on, number 15 here? Yeah. Number 15 here, CASCA the Pirate. Back to the 20th century again, number 16, CASCA Desert Mercenary, where he is fighting in Algiers. And I'll say throughout the series, as well as it kind of jumps back and forth throughout time, another plot thread that is introduced, I think, in book 3, if I remember right, and comes back and forth. There is the Brotherhood of the Spear, which are kind of come and go antagonists to CASCA. The Brotherhood of the Spear was founded by, I forget his name, again, the 13th apostle, who was witness to what Jesus said to CASCA there on the cross. And he acquires the spear of destiny, spear of Longinus, which also figures greatly into the Panzer Soldier book. You know, Hitler very much into the occult. The spear is something that he was after. So that's another major part of book 4 there. And this Brotherhood of the Spear, they follow CASCA throughout time. They try to control him because they believe that wherever he is, that is where Christ will return. So that is an interesting dynamic woven throughout the series as well. Book 17, CASCA the Warrior here. This is in the South Seas somewhere. Again, this is another one that I don't know anything about. Most of the later books I haven't read. Book 18, this one looks interesting. We've got now over 2 million CASCA books in print. So they were pretty successful still at this point. Number 18, this one came out when was this one? 1987, when CASCA the Cursed came out. He's back in China at this point. Interesting cover art in that. Is that Steve Holland or is that Fabio? Wow. CASCA the Samurai. It's like we're in maybe 17th century Japan, 18th century. Number 20 here, CASCA, Soldier of Gideon. back in his homeland there in the Middle East. At least maybe not his homeland. He was a Roman, but back kind of where the story started. I think this one takes place during the 6-Day War. So I'm looking forward to getting back through the series and getting to that one as well. Number 21 here, CASCA the Trench Soldier. It took us 21 books to get to World War I. I find that interesting. It seems like World War I would be one of the first places he jumped to, but they call it the Forgotten War for a reason, sadly. So, CASCA back here in World War I. I don't know where. Probably all over. I like the cover on that one. I think that might be one of my favorite covers in the series. And book 22 here. This was probably one of the worst. The copies that had this in the worst shape. The spine has been taped. There's a couple of these that aren't awesome, but largely they're pretty good. Some of them I don't think have even been read. Number 20 here, I don't think 20 has ever been read, honestly. So, and 21 is very sharp and crisp as well. So CASCA the Mongol here is number 22. This is the last one that Barry Sadler wrote. There were some ghostwriters throughout the series. I don't know that anyone, maybe not even the family, is 100% sure which ones he wrote and which ones the ghostwriter took on. But they're so seamless, as I understand, that it's hard to tell anyway. So it really doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned. It would be interesting to know, but not really imperative to your enjoyment of the series. After number 22, which came out in, let's see here, 1990, Barry Sadler was done with the series. There were a couple of books after that were written by someone else. And then the publisher kind of quit on the series. And there were a couple of guys who came forward. Michael Goodwin was one, and the guy who's currently writing the series, I'm really bad with names today. I'm sorry. Both kind of vied for the one to take over the series. Michael Goodwin, I hope that I'm getting this right. Because I don't want to slander anyone. Anyway, there were a couple of books that were proven to be copied, plagiarized from other books. So they have been pulled. I think CASCA the Outlaw was one, takes place in the Old West, and another one that I've never read either one of those. And then the guy who's writing them now, they're all self-published. I think he has rights to the series. And he's putting them out like one every couple of years. I think the series is in its 50s by now. I don't remember the last one that came out 50-something. I really don't know. I'm not following it. I've heard various degrees of interest in the series as it moved on as far as quality is concerned. Most people, at least fans of the original series of books, kind of don't really care. There are some who swear by it to say they're great, they're fantastic. So if you read any of those, your mileage may vary. I have not read any of them. Honestly, I have less than zero interest in continuing the series, which is why I say it's complete as it is. 22 volumes of the Barry Sadler series. Have you read the CASCA books? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you find them problematic? Have you read any of the later books in the series? I know I saw an interview with, I think it was Jules Burt, showing his CASCA books. And Barry Sadler's daughter commented on that video that at least she at that time said that the family is not thrilled with the direction that the series has gone, and they'd love to see something more official happen as a continuation to her dad's books. That'll never happen, I'm sure, but there is enough lingering interest in CASCA that the guy's apparently still selling books. So yay for him, keeping CASCA out there. Maybe someday I'll read one, but yeah, I'm really not curious at all. So yeah, what do you think? Have you read the CASCA books? What do you think? If you like them, start the conversation. I'd love to know what you had to say. And I'm going to leave you with that. Another adventure of a completist, or misadventure as it may be. Hope you have a fantastic new year. Looking forward to seeing you in 2026. Got some good things planned for the year, and I look forward to getting to know many and all of you better. Have a great day. See you next time. Brad out.